Welcome, I'm Sam Faddis, and this is Ground Truth. Back in the day, in those old Tarzan movies, you used to hear people say all the time something like this: "It's quiet, too quiet," implying that something horrible was happening or we needed to pay attention to something. Reminds me a little bit of the media these days. We talk a lot about how the press distorts things, lies, makes up facts. Well, they made up a whole story about Donald Trump and Russia for a couple of years at least. But there's a whole other piece to this. That's when the press simply stops talking about things, when they decide that the narrative isn't what they'd like it to be. So all of a sudden, there's nothing to see here, move along, and we're just supposed to not inquire. Case in point, the border. Less than a year ago, we were told we were in crisis. The Trump administration was failing. Floods of people were coming across the border. And my God, AOC told us we were running concentration camps down on the border where we are oppressing people, separating kids from their parents, etc. Now, if you stop and think about it, you probably don't remember the last time you heard anything about the border. And that's because the news is not what many of these media outlets want you to hear. It doesn't fit with their narrative. The fact is that apprehensions at the border are down dramatically. As recently as May of 2019, we were seeing 4,600 on average people arrested every single day, taken into custody every single day down at the border. That number is now on average 1,300, and it's dropping. In fact, over the last few weeks, it's been below 1,000 a day. We're pushing down to 20% of where we were 6 months ago. And those concentration camps, those detention facilities at the border, which were overcrowded, we had 4 times as many people, 5 times as many people as we could hold. Now we're actually under capacity. And that number is dropping too. The reality is that even though Congress would not cooperate with the Trump administration and make legislative changes, a whole bunch of policy initiatives are actually bearing fruit. And most principally, the Trump administration has leaned on and cajoled Central American countries, Mexico, Guatemala, etc., and forced them to control their own borders, to move troops and police officers to the borders and stop all these folks from ever making it to the U.S.-Mexican border. That, along with a policy of telling everybody who wanted to apply for asylum that that's great, but if you're already at the border, you got to wait in Tijuana. And if you're a new asylum seeker, well, you can't wander across 5 countries and come here. As soon as you get out of your country, which is supposedly what you're fleeing, you need to apply for asylum the first place you come to. All of a sudden, this flood of individuals seems to be turned off. So that's the reality of what's going on. That's why the press is so quiet. And if you ask me, sounds like we're winning. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time on Ground Truth.